Admiral Zexithara had conquered 17 worlds in her career. Each time, the process had been methodical, predictable. The hegemony's intelligence division would analyze the target species' military capabilities, cultural weaknesses, and technological limitations. Then came the demonstration of superior firepower, followed by swift surrender and integration into the Empire. Earth should have been no different. The blue-green world hung before the 1,000-ship Armada, like a ripe fruit waiting to be plucked. Preliminary scans showed a relatively primitive civilization: nuclear weapons, chemical propulsion, crude orbital infrastructure. The humans had barely achieved faster-than-light communication, let alone travel. By hegemony standards, they were centuries behind. "Admiral," reported Captain Vorth from his position at the tactical station, "we've intercepted their entertainment broadcasts as ordered. The Cultural Analysis Department believes studying their fictional conflicts will reveal strategic thinking patterns and psychological vulnerabilities." Zexthara's 4 eyes gleamed with anticipation. "Excellent. Project the most relevant selections to the fleet's command staff. We'll understand their warrior mentality within the hour." The first reel began innocuously enough. A human conflict called World War II played across their screens. The species appeared capable of remarkable organization and industrial production, but their weapons were laughably primitive. Projectile weapons that required direct contact with targets, vehicles that couldn't even achieve orbit. Then came the footage from something called Stalingrad. The command deck fell silent as they watched human soldiers fighting house to house through a frozen wasteland, using nothing but determination and whatever weapons they could scavenge. When ammunition ran low, they fought with knives. When knives broke, they used their bare hands. When buildings collapsed around them, they dug through rubble to continue fighting. "Fast forward to their modern conflicts," Zexithara ordered, disturbed by something she couldn't quite identify. The next selection showed humans in places called Afghanistan, Vietnam, and Syria. In every scenario, technologically superior forces struggled against humans who simply refused to surrender. The recordings showed fighters living in caves and tunnels for years, emerging to strike at occupation forces before vanishing again. Some clips showed individual humans continuing to fight even after sustaining injuries that would have killed most species. "Admiral," Captain Vorth's voice had lost its earlier confidence, "these aren't fictional entertainment broadcasts. Our translation algorithms were incorrect. These are historical documentaries." The command deck erupted in nervous chittering. Zexithara raised one of her 4 arms for silence. "Show me their fictional conflicts, then. I want to see what they imagine war to be." What followed challenged everything the hegemony thought it knew about psychological warfare. Humans had imagined conflicts against superior alien invasions dozens of times. In every scenario, regardless of the overwhelming odds, fictional humans found ways to win. They developed new technologies under impossible deadlines. They exploited enemy weaknesses that weren't apparent until the final moments of conflict. They sacrificed themselves in ways that turned certain defeat into Pyrrhic victory. But it was the details that unsettled the alien command staff most. In one fictional scenario, humans defeated an alien invasion by uploading a computer virus to the enemy mothership using primitive Earth computers. In another, they discovered that their enemy's advanced technology was vulnerable to bacteria that existed in Earth's atmosphere. Time and again, fictional humans turned their apparent weaknesses into unexpected advantages. "This is concerning," admitted Science Officer Krelnoth. "They've actually wargamed against scenarios similar to our current position. They've spent decades imagining how to defeat technologically superior alien forces." Then came the entertainment that would change the course of galactic history. The humans called it science fiction, but it might as well have been a tactical manual. Stories of generation ships launched toward distant worlds when Earth faced annihilation. Tales of humans spreading throughout the galaxy in sleeper ships, establishing hidden colonies, developing new weapons and strategies across centuries. Fiction that portrayed humanity as a species that treated extinction-level threats as engineering problems to be solved. The most disturbing revelation came from their disaster films. When faced with asteroid impacts, alien invasions, or global pandemics, fictional humans consistently displayed a pattern. They would sacrifice everything to ensure their species' survival. Parents would die to save children. Soldiers would hold impossible positions to buy civilians time to evacuate. Scientists would work until their last breath to develop solutions. Admiral, Captain Vorth's voice was barely above a whisper. There's something else. They've documented their own extinction events. The final reel showed Earth's actual history. Ice ages that lasted millennia. Volcanic eruptions that blocked out the sun. Asteroid impacts that wiped out dominant species. Through it all, humanity's ancestors had survived. Not through superior technology or overwhelming numbers, but through sheer stubborn persistence. They had crawled out of caves after ice sheets receded. They had rebuilt civilizations after plagues killed half their population. They had looked at the ruins of their world and decided to try again. These aren't the actions of a primitive species, Zexathera realized aloud. This is a species that has survived repeated attempts at extinction. They don't just fight wars, they fight the universe itself. The command deck was absolutely silent now. Every officer understood what they were seeing. Humanity wasn't a young species taking its first steps into the galaxy. They were survivors who had been tested by disasters that would have ended most civilizations. Admiral, Science Officer Krell Noth reported quietly, our analysis of their nuclear arsenals was incomplete. They possess enough weapons to render their entire planet uninhabitable. They built these weapons knowing they would never survive their use. They created instruments of mutual annihilation as a defensive strategy. The implications hit everyone simultaneously. Here was a species that would rather destroy their own world than surrender it. They had built weapons specifically designed to ensure that conquest of Earth would be meaningless. A dead rock orbiting a distant star. Sir, Captain Vorth added, we're also detecting several anomalous signals from their outer system. It appears they've launched multiple deep space probes and communication arrays. If we attack Earth, word will reach other human settlements. Zexathera's 4 eyes widened. Other settlements? Our initial scans missed them because they're small and technologically minimal. But they exist. Humans have already begun spreading to other worlds. If we attack Earth, we won't be conquering humanity. We'll be starting a war with a species that is prepared for exactly this scenario. The Admiral stared at the blue-green world on her screen. Earth wasn't a prize to be claimed. It was a trap. A challenge issued by a species that had spent their entire evolutionary history learning how to fight extinction. She thought about the battles ahead if they proceeded with the invasion. Humans fighting house to house through every city. Resistance movements that would last for generations. Weapons hidden in asteroid belts and outer planets, waiting to strike at hegemony forces decades from now. A species that viewed their own extinction as just another engineering problem to be solved through stubbornness and sacrifice. Communications, Zexathera ordered, her voice heavy with resignation. Open a channel to Earth, diplomatic frequencies. Admiral, we're going to offer them a peace treaty. Full recognition of their sovereignty, non-interference agreements, and an invitation to join the hegemony as equals. But sir, our orders were to conquer a primitive species. What we've found is something else entirely. These aren't primitives, they're apex predators who have been planning for our arrival since they first looked up at the stars. Zexathera turned away from the view screen. Her career of easy conquest officially over. Some battles weren't worth fighting, no matter how certain victory appeared. Sometimes the wisest strategy was to offer your hand in friendship before your potential enemy decided to show you exactly why they had survived everything the universe had thrown at them. The peace treaty was transmitted within the hour. Humanity's response came back in 17 different languages, but the message was universal. Welcome to the neighborhood. Let's talk.